Good evening, everybody. I'm happy to be here with you tonight and talk to you about digital transformations, one of my favorite subjects. It's a great subject to talk about because these days we have a lot of new sales tech tools coming in to this space and helping us to create much better results in our sales organizations. It's important to say that when we start planning our digital transformation, and this is where everything starts, right, in the right planning of our transformation. So as we go and do that, we need to think about the differences between our company and other companies. We need to think about the human capital that we have, which types of skills they are skilled with, which type of technologies they already know how to work with, which type of challenges they are getting into on a daily basis. Second thing we need to think about is which technologies are already inside our organizations. How is the new tools that we are going to bring in going to play together with the technologies that we already have inside? And the last thing is that we have different products and services between companies, and it's important that your digital transformation will allow you to create the right processes, the right customer journeys, to monitor the right types of customer communication channels for your specific case, for your specific business case. So what I want to do today is I want to go through a few major strategic points that will allow you to plan your digital transformation and hopefully execute it to the best extent and create the best results for your sales team. So the first thing I want to cover is the fact that digital assets became something that is relevant also for sales teams. So when we talk about digital assets, I just want to give a few examples. A digital asset can be a company's Facebook page. A digital asset can be a customer list. A digital asset can be the sales department's LinkedIn profiles and how they engage with other profiles that are relevant in the network. Companies that know how to operate their digital assets better, how to increase the size of the digital assets, how to use them for sales interactions, are actually companies that are able to compete better. The beautiful thing about digital assets is the fact that they level the playing field. Okay, this is something that is great news for the small players, and this is something the big players should also be aware of. Big players usually take longer time to react, longer time to plan new strategy. This is something that can become viral very, very quickly, right? When we're talking about digital assets, we're talking about the impact and influence that they can do on the customers that are actually involved in those digital assets. If I have 50,000 people on my Facebook page and I have the capability to reach them and influence them every day, this is a huge tool that companies want to have. And in this case, it's very, very easy to get confused between big companies and small companies, big players and small players, because online is a different space. It's not like in our physical space where we can see the differences very, very clearly. Second thing I want to talk to you about is evolution enablement. And when I say evolution, I mean how do we create, as managers, the capability to evolve over time in every aspect that relates to our customers and in every aspect that relates to our employees. We are bringing a lot of tech into these processes, into their conversations, into their engagement. We need to make sure that all these tech is not making the process more complicated. We need to make sure that our employees are experiencing success, that our customers are experiencing success, that our customers are experiencing a process that is more simplified, a purchasing process that is easier for them to engage with, to work with, and to proceed with later on to give you the money. So as we implement those tools, as we implement those strategies and digital assets, we need to make sure that we can use that data to evolve on our customer processes and to evolve on our employee management, to help our employees create success, to help our customers create success. This is our new goal as sales leaders using those tools in this area. The next strategic point, the next thing the strategic goal that we want to achieve when we do digital transformation in our sales department is we want to achieve greater influence on the point of sale. Now, point of sale can be very, very different in different companies. In some companies, when we're talking about B2B business, you know, it's very typical. The sales agent goes to the business buyer, and then we have a very simple way to influence these interactions these days. With CRMs, the agent comes back, there is different automations he can use to upload all the data that he gathered in the meeting or in the customer interaction. And And then we can use this data in order to help the employee create success and influence later on. If the employee, we see that he needs some help in handling customer objections, because we see that every time that there is a price objection, the employee fails to complete the deal, so we can help them and train them on how to handle customer objections, for example. Now, the problem gets a bit more difficult when we are going into remote point of sales. When we go to remote point of sales, like resellers, for example, if we are selling a cosmetic device, but the person that's actually selling our cosmetic device to the end customer is a beautician, and we are relying on the sales skills of the beautician to actually help us scale up the revenue. So we need to be able to influence on that point of sale as well. For example, today we have tools like Lipper that help us influence remote point of sales and influence that interaction between the field salesperson from our corporate and the person, the reseller that is actually selling the product in the field. The next strategic point I want to talk to you about is very, very important. I want to talk to you about customer experience. We need to use the digital transformation that we are doing in order to create a unique and trust-building customer experience. And this issue became the most important. As we can see from the numbers that Salesforce provided us after the latest customer research Salesforce did between consumers and business buyers, customer experience became as important as your product and service. Another thing you can learn from the Salesforce research is that customer experience can actually give you a competitive edge. So this is tremendous news for sales teams, and this is something to use. And maybe the greatest news is that you can charge more money for a great experience. This is something that also came out of the research. So you have to take this opportunity, this digital transformation, to think, how can I design a customer journey that is the most interesting, the most engaging, the most productive and valuable for my customer, the most engaging, and can help the customer to really decide that this is the solution he wants to go for. The next strategic issue I want to talk about is how we maximize transparency in our organization. So why do we need to think about transparency as a strategic issue? Well, the thing is that technology always pushes us to go towards more transparent types of activities and more transparent data. The fact is that we need to think whether it's applicable in our organization or not. We also need to help our team understand that they are going to be transparent now, that we are going to be able to see better what they are doing in the field. We will be able to analyze the data of their activities, and we are going to guide them and train them later on to create better results. But they need to be open for it. So transparency is definitely something we need to think about as we plan those transformations. Now, after we discussed about a few different strategic points, we understood that in the heart of this transformation, there is data. A lot of data is going to get to us. A lot of data is going to influence our processes, our sale processes, how we engage the customers, what we tell them, what type of information we collect from them, and so on. But we need to be careful with data, because data can be wrong sometimes. This issue of bad data is important. We need to be aware, and we need to also train our team to not use pre-assumption, not to be lazy when they have a lot of data in telling the company's story, to be aware of the fact that data can sometimes be wrong. Sometimes they might have the wrong idea of what the customer is thinking or after, and they still need to invest the time in really finding the right solutions and making sure they really understand what the customer needs. I think the best way to summarize what we talked about in terms of digital transformation is to talk about our sales leaders. Because our sales leaders are going to lead this transition, and they're going to train the team, and they are the ones that are going to need to be there when the team runs into new challenges around this transformation. So what we expect out of our new sales leaders? What we expect of them is to use data in a way that enhances the customer experience and the employee experience. And they need to do it in every different aspect of the digital transformation. The second thing we expect of them is to nurture growth through evolution. when they have this data, they need to constantly think how to analyze it, what else can be done, what else can we test. We all know this A and B testing type of tactic. We need to use it also in our sale processes, in the sale content, in the sales stories that we tell customers, and evolve constantly. And the last thing we expect is that when they have so much data, they need to be able to see the problems before they happen. They need to be able to fix them before they happen. They need to be able to recognize that some deal is in jeopardy and need to be able to influence in the right time, in the right place, with the right sales rep. So I hope what we talked about today gave you some good idea about how to prepare for your own digital transformation and how to plan your strategy when you are about to set sail on this wonderful journey. Thank you very much.